Ya sé lo que piensas, ya sé lo que piensas.
No te bastan con los grandes de España, quieres también los pequeños.
Trato de hacerlo olvidar el haberte
¿Y
conocido.
tú qué haces que no le pegas dos tortas? ¡Toma, cochina! ¡Corra! ¡Tómate! ¡Te voy a sacar!
Can you escape the fatal blows of Cupid's arrows? Welcome to my channel. Today we'll be discussing Rohini Nakshatra and its major theme of lovesickness, expressed in the context of unrequited love, love triangles, and romantic obsession, making reference to classical tales and exploring how they reflect in modern retellings. We will also be relating this theme to the 10 fatal effects of Cupid's arrows. What is lovesickness? The dictionary describes lovesickness very simply as being in love or missing the person one loves so much that one is unable to act normally. What are these 10 wounds of Cupid or 10 effects of Cupid's arrows? Cupid or Eros or Kamadeva is the god that penetrates us with feelings of passion using his arrows. But often in the mainstream, there is only one effect of Cupid's arrows that is spoken about, and that is the effect of love at first sight. But truthfully, very often this love ends up being one-sided. One person is struck, but the object of his eye is neutral and even avoidant to him. Why do we never speak of the many victims of Cupid, whose wounds are left to bleed endlessly until death? Today we will attempt to remedy some of this by using Rohini Nakshatra and its tales of obsession as case studies. So to begin with, what is the full list of stages one passes through when lovesick? The 10 stages of Cupid's effects, as described by Vishwanatha Chakravarti in his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, are love at first sight.
Do you know how it is when you meet somebody for the first time and you get this instant attraction?
Obsession.
I'm glad you're here, Bella. Maybe we can get a break from Jake's obsessive inner monologue. Which Bella would call.
Which Bella wouldn't call.
Maybe I should call Bella.
Maybe I should call Bella and hang up.
All right, I can shut up now.
Persistence.
It's going to be real hard for us to have a relationship if you keep refusing to go out with me.
Sleeplessness. Emaciation.
Più mio, almeno il brodo, che ti rinfresca gli intestini. Pietro, sono 3 giorni ormai che non mangia.
Disinterest in life.
I have guns. I'd kill myself. I wouldn't be the only one. Others would go.
Shamelessness.
Oh, number 7. I ain't gonna lie, but she act like she really doing all that for me.
Madness.
Oh no.
Being stunned. And finally, death. And do not worry if you cannot fix all of these 10 stages, for the examples we will be exploring will hopefully reinforce them indelibly. What is the connection between Rohini and Cupid? In Vedic astrology, we often study the deities that are said to be born in particular nakshatras to gain a deeper understanding of both the deity and the nakshatra. Krishna is said to have been born in Rohini, and Krishna is said to be one of the many names of Kamadeva. In the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, Krishna is identified as the original Kamadeva. It is said that Krishna is the source of Kamadeva's inciting power, and later on we will explore the tale of Krishna and the gopis, which is the very story that inspired the commentary of what happens when Cupid strikes one.
What is it? How far are you gonna push this? What do you want? You wanna kill me? You wanna rape me?
You and I were meant for each other, Laura.
Let us begin with the movie Stalking Laura, otherwise known as I Can Make You Love Me. It stars the Rohini Sun native Brooke Shields and was also directed by the Rohini Sun native Michael Switzer. Rohini is arguably one of the main nakshatras of fixation, but it is not always the case that the Rohini native herself is the one fixated, because often she provokes obsession from others. In this movie, our protagonist, Laura, again played by the Rohini native Brooke Shields, begins a new job at a fancy office and has a very strong effect on another character, Richard. So much so that he becomes consumed by thoughts of her. Richard, as we can see, has been struck by one of Cupid's arrows. And so, we see stages 1, 2, and 3 of Cupid's effects. Love at first sight, obsession, and also determination. A key element in Richard is that he refuses to take no for an answer. Despite Laura's constant rejections, he still believes he has a shot with her, as though he can perceive through her nose a concealed, mutual affection.
Hey, Laura! I bet you get great gas mileage with this.
You know, I'm feeling kind of hungry, and I was wondering if maybe you wanted to go out and have a bite right now.
I'm tired and I wish you'd please just leave me alone.
If we could just talk about this.
I don't feel like talking about anything. I just want you to stop bothering me.
She's my girlfriend.
I am not his girlfriend.
She gets like this sometimes. She's got quite a temper, but it doesn't mean anything at all. Just a lover's quarrel. You know how it is. Laura, where are you going?
From the other characters in the movie who have worked with Richard for much longer, we discovered that this mentally unbalanced behavior is completely new. And it was only when Laura started working in their offices that this mental illness was triggered or provoked. Richard pursues Laura incessantly, each time intensifying his strategies, trying different things from playing nice and baking her treats.
How'd you get in?
Fresh baked blueberry bread. Made it myself.
Rich, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing here so early?
I couldn't sleep. When I can't sleep, I work at my computer or I bake. You want to know my secret? Lemon zest. Brings it all together. Here.
But when the more pleasant ploys have no effect, he tries progressively more violent tactics like slashing the wheels of her car just to get her attention. Laura no longer feels safe in her own home and decides to move and doesn't tell anyone, all in an attempt to avoid Richard. She changes into a high-security condominium, but even then, Richard finds a way to discover where she lives by tricking his coworkers and breaking into her offices to learn all he could about her. And his obsession with her is so obvious and so destructive that he even loses his job on account of his deranged fixation on our Rohini protagonist.
Do you understand that sexual harassment is against the law? You could be fired.
I've worked here for over 9 years. If I lost my job, I'd have nothing to live for.
That's my point. We want you to stay.
I have guns. I'd kill myself. I wouldn't be the only one. Others would go.
Rich, are you saying if you were fired, you would kill me?
Yes. Not just you. I'd take others as well.
And in so doing, we observe the symptoms of stages 6, 7, and 8. Disinterest in life, shamelessness, and also madness.
I spent the whole day at Project Concern, and I have no intention of ever going back there again. You and Penny and Chris, you have no idea of who you're messing with here.
Go get the manager now. I want you to get out of my way.
You think I'm a joke, don't you?
No, Rich, I don't think you're a joke.
Don't you understand? Why do you want to find out how far I will go? I just don't think that you should tell anybody about our little talk here, all right? They might get the wrong impression, and that they would do something stupid, and then I could do something stupid, and the whole thing could spiral beyond any hope of recovery. Get out of here! I might scare us both with what I'm capable of doing.
Finally, he has nothing left to lose and nothing more to gain and nothing more to offer Laura. At his wit's end, he decides to use the last tool in his arsenal to compel his object of obsession to be with him: violence.
It's Laura's fault that things got to this point. I warned her something like this would happen. I told her I couldn't let her get away with it, and I'm warning you. We'll have a lot more bodies if I see any more police near the building. Basically, none of this would have happened if she'd gone out with me just one time. I don't think that was too much to ask.
One of Rohini's symbols is that of the Red Woman, because of her ability to inspire, stir, arouse, or better yet, provoke strong feelings in others. Rohini can either play the role of the provoker, the agent of provocation, the one who stirs passion and arouses intense feelings in others, or can be the one provoked, the victim of provocation. Arousal of desire is referred to as smarodayam, and the term smara is often used to refer to both Kamadeva and Krishna himself. The movie Fear is jam-packed with Rohini influences, and is a movie we will come back to reference in Chapter 1 of Rohini Nakshatra, the title of which I have yet to decide. Each nakshatra is so full of seemingly contradictory expressions that, as a means of making sense of them and make them cohesive, I try to organize them into chapters. This present video is titled Chapter 2 because, in how I have organized things, the obsessive and possessive tendencies of Rohini and its effects come later on. Let us list out the Rohini influences in the movie Fear. First, we have the screenwriter Christopher Crowe, who likely has a Rohini moon. Then we have Alyssa Milano with Rohini moon, William Peterson, who is most likely a Rohini moon, and finally, our chief antagonist in the film, Mark Wahlberg with Rohini sun. Each one of these Rohini characters has obsessive and possessive characteristics, and each one of them is easily provoked into extreme behavior. But for the purpose of this video, we will mostly focus on Mark Wahlberg, as the other Rohini character, William Peterson, who plays the father, is a discussion for a future video on Rohini. Mark Wahlberg's character, David, meets a girl and is instantly struck by her and falls madly in love. In the beginning, he presents himself as attentive, caring, and understanding, and uniquely empathetic, unlike most of the boys Nicole is used to. He becomes fixated on her, and at first, this is perceived as intense but sincere affection on the part of Nicole. But she soon realizes that his affections for her are so passionate that they are murderous. David burns with such a passionate possessiveness over Nicole that he is stirred into a jealous rage anytime he perceives her to be slipping away from him or interacting with other males. He is imposing and marks his territory definitively, but after observing his low moral character, again, his propensity for violence and even infidelity, Nicole decides to separate herself from him.
Were the flowers from him?
Yeah. It's just like him, you know? He's always so polite, considerate. He never has to show off the way other guys do. And all of a sudden he turns into a monster. I mean, Gary was down on the ground and David just kept on kicking him. And kicking him so
Did he
hard.
give you the black eye too?
But this decision almost proved fatal. David could not relinquish her. He continued his pursuit. Being deprived of her affection rendered him the more obsessive. David now suffered from a lovesickness so severe that it aggravated his already hostile tendencies. He was now on a mission to systematically antagonize everyone that she loved, her friends and her family, all as a means of compelling Nicole back to loving him. He had tried playing nice. He had tried dropping notes in her locker asking for forgiveness. He had tried assuming a more respectable tone towards her father to shed his bad boy image.
Mr. Walker, sir, I believe I owe you, Nicole, and your entire family an apology. Well, I was just wondering if you'd be so kind as to let me come in for a minute and explain a few things. I think you might understand.
I'm not interested in understanding you, David. I'm only interested in keeping you away from Nicole. And I'll do whatever it takes to accomplish that. Okay? Whatever it takes.
He had tried assuming a more respectable tone towards her father to shed his bad boy image, but those tactics didn't work. So he course corrected. If sugar wouldn't provoke a reaction, he would try sour. He destroys her father's car. He kills one of her best friends. He severs the head of her pet dog. His love for her, or rather, his unrequited love for her, provoked such a thirst that he was willing to do anything to get her back. His lovesickness was now a mental illness that could only be soothed by her embrace. If she did not come back to him, he would avenge his wounded heart with very real, very bloody counterattacks. The movie ends with David rounding up his friends to go and attack Nicole's family at home, as a last resort to compel her to be with him. One of the most important takeaways from this movie, which we'll come to reference later, is confusion. David does not really love Nicole. He thinks he does. If he did, he would never have slept with her best friend so casually, and he would never have attempted to kill her loved ones only to secure her. One important scene that demonstrates his lack of understanding of the concept of love is when he breaks into the women's bathroom in the mall.
How are you? I need to talk to you. You gotta listen to me, Nicole. To me. The real me. You gotta use the one thing you have that can hear the real me. It's not here. It's not what I say. It's not here. It's not the way you see me acting. It's here. That's where it is, Nicole. You know it. I know it. Your daddy knows it. Everybody knows it. That's why they're trying to keep us apart. They're just jealous. We have something that everybody wants, but nobody has. You can't let them take that away from us, Nicole. It belongs to me and you. Okay? I love you. I love you.
Help! Help me. Help.
Marilyn Monroe, arguably one of the most, if not the most well-known Rohini native, is recognized the world over for her uniquely captivating charms. Again, Rohini is represented by its symbol of the red woman, which reflects its ability to inspire, ignite, stir, arouse, and provoke. As we will see, Marilyn's great talent, whether she makes use of it consciously or subconsciously, is that of provocation. For the purpose of this video, I will describe provocation as the ability to arouse or stir very extreme reactions in others, whether these are positive or negative, for romantic purposes or strictly to antagonize. Rohini Nakshatra is very much connected to themes of unrequited love, and in many of her films, Marilyn is depicted as unknowingly provoking her male counterparts into feelings of intense desire, but never satisfying them with love and affection. Instead, the men would only embarrass themselves trying to get her attention.
Because now I'm going to take you in my arms and kiss you very quickly and very hard.
Hey, wait a minute!
The movie The 7-Year Itch is one such example, starring a married man who claims to want to be faithful to his wife.
Some husbands think that because their wives are away for the summer, they can just run wild, do any terrible thing they want. Like Charlie Luttrell. Not me. And I'm not going to smoke either. Oh no, not me, not me.
But upon seeing Marilyn Monroe, is so provoked by her that he even commits adultery. He tries to tell himself to control himself repeatedly, but upon seeing her, he loses all shame.
Good old Rachmaninoff. The second piano concerto. Never misses.
The second piano concerto. You came. I'm so glad.
It shakes me. It quakes me. It makes me feel goose pimply all over. I don't know where I am, or who I am, or what I'm doing. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Why did you stop?
You know why I stopped.
Why?
Because now I'm going to take you in my arms and kiss you. Very quickly and very hard.
You certainly have a nice place here. You live here alone?
Yes, I live here alone. All alone. Quick, the glasses!
Pour it.
Seems to be stuck.
That's silly. Just give it a good yank. You're married.
I am? Yes, I am.
I knew it. I could tell. You look married.
But the Marilyn Monroe movie I wish to focus on is Niagara. This movie carries the themes of lovesickness and violence as a symptom of lovesickness that is the focus of this video essay. In the movie, Marilyn plays the wife to a man who is so possessive and fixated on her that even when he observes the obvious signs of her disinterest in him, he refuses to let her go.
I guess it was silly what I did. But that song, she didn't tell you about that, I bet. Of course not. She didn't tell you where she first heard it or with who. Well, she didn't tell me either.
Hold still, please.
Parading around, showing herself off in that dress, cut down so low in front you can see her kneecaps. She'd like to wear that dress where everybody could see her, right in the middle of the Yankee Stadium. She's a tramp. I'll tell you now so you won't have to ask.
You love her very much, don't you?
What do you know about it?
You're stuck on her. Otherwise, you'd walk off and forget her.
He even claims that his affiliation with her was so damned that upon their official partnering, he mysteriously lost all his money and businesses and became broke. He took this as a sign that she was cursed in some way, but still, his fixation on her was so unrelenting that no sign from God could inspire him to leave her.
Lately, anyway, everything I touch ever since Duluth. I met her in a big beer hall. She was the most popular waitress they had. I guess it was the way she put the beer on the tables. It's just that she was bored with the ranch. We spent half our time in town, bars, nightclubs. Up in Atlanta, I ran a pretty good sheep ranch. And all of a sudden, the sheep went dumb, or I did. That winter it kept snowing and the sheep kept dying.
Everybody gets a run of bad luck.
That won't cover it. I rented it to another rancher. He had worse winters and made out all right.
We know that obsession is one of the symptoms of Cupid's fatal arrows, as it is the second stage of his effects. And we know that the sixth symptom of his poison arrow is a lack of interest in external things, or disinterest in life, which in this case refers to our male protagonist's career and livelihood. So consumed is our male protagonist with Marilyn Monroe's character that he even sacrifices sustenance for passion. Still, Marilyn's character was no longer interested in the union, and she would often do things to purposely provoke him into jealousy and hate, also he could finally let her go.
Where are you going?
Here we go again. All right.
I'm not going to the bus station. Does that make you feel any better?
You smell like a dime store. I know what that means.
Sure. I'm meeting somebody. Just anybody handy. Anybody suits me. Take your pick, as long as he's a man. Build your Maxwell. I'll be back.
She would dress provocatively for others to pursue her as her husband watched, and she would even play a mysterious song that her husband suspects reminds her of a former or present lover. But her provocations proved futile. Worse, they but elicited ever more ardent feelings within him, though by now one was not sure whether it was love or loathing. Marilyn Monroe's character wants so desperately for him to leave her. She is no longer interested in him and wants to be free to love whomever else she loves. So finally, she decides to plan his murder. Marilyn's character is an adulteress, which makes this movie another story about love triangles. Marilyn conspires against her husband with her lover to kill him, but her plan fails and he lives. After this soiled attempt at homicide, it finally dawns on our male protagonist that Marilyn Monroe's character will never truly love him. But still, he is fixated on her. Instead of taking this as an opportunity to run away and start a life somewhere else without her, he instead decides to avenge Cupid's attack on his heart, this unrequited love, by murdering her instead. Again, he had the opportunity to start over fresh, without her and her dark cloud casting doom and gloom upon him, but still he chose to sacrifice any freedom he could have had by tracking her down and killing her. Now he is a criminal and lost his freedom and his soul, all for his fixation. By killing Marilyn Monroe's character, he arrives at the final stage of lovesickness, death.
Sorry I mistrusted you. I should have known you'd never do anything to spoil it.
To spoil what?
What we have between us.
We don't have a goddamn thing between us. Now, how many ways am I gonna have to say this to you?
I don't care how many ways you say it. It's not true.
I'm gonna have to do to convince you.
It's not true.
Play Misty for Me is another movie both starred and directed by a Rohini native, the same Rohini native, Clint Eastwood. It follows the life of a charming man who is, of course, lucky with ladies. He has a particular effect on one fan of his. Her name is Evelyn. She is so charmed by him that she begins to follow him and even contrives an accidental meeting to meet him. Being the ladies' man that he is, Clint Eastwood's character sleeps with her the same night he meets her. But the female protagonist has now been struck and her afflictions quickly progress onto the stage of obsession.
Hi.
Why, hi there yourself.
Dave Garver live here?
Well, that depends on your point of view.
Oh, hi. Wow, this stuff weighs a ton. Where's the kitchen?
Right inside. Just come right on in and help yourself. Swing right around the bend there.
How come you don't have any beer? And what is this, a shrunken head? Who was that guy? Does he live here?
Hey, look,
I hope you like steak. I thought you looked like the steak and potato soup.
Hey, hang on.
Said to myself, a nice green salad with roquefort and tomatoes, baked potato with... Stop.
What's going on here?
Oh, don't send me away.
No, I want to ask you a question.
I just wanted to surprise you.
What happens if he and I had been talking business? Or maybe I have female company or something and you come traipsing in with an armload of groceries. That would be some surprise.
Evelyn demonstrates an important symptom of lovesickness that we have yet to fully explore. That is stage 7 of Cupid's effects, shamelessness. She acts like a toddler, playing with Clint Eastwood's character's keys, making him late for work, and she even shows up to his house naked, so he's forced to let her in.
Hi. Get all your work done?
What do you want, Evelyn?
One Coke?
I'll tell you, tonight I'm really whipped.
We quickly progress from stage 7 of shamelessness to stage 8 of madness. At first, her madness is expressed through intense mood swings and behavioral changes.
Friendly neighborhood geisha. Remove honorable shoes.
Stop it. Now we've got to talk.
Have I done something wrong? I don't understand. Are you trying to say you don't love me anymore?
Jesus Christ. I never told you that I loved you.
It's that other bitch, isn't it?
So long.
What am I supposed to do? Sit here all dressed up in my little horse suit waiting for my lord and master to call?
Nobody asked you to wait for anything.
You're not jumping me, Buster Blue Eyes. You're nothing! You're not even good in bed! I just felt sorry for you, that's all! Bastard! You poor, pathetic bastard!
Hello?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean those things I said. Will I see you tomorrow?
You don't listen, do you?
Oh, let me come over. If I could just see you, just talk to you.
No, Evelyn.
But I love you, David, I love you.
But then it progresses to her cutting herself, all in an embarrassing and pathetic attempt to provoke some type of reaction from the one she loves, but still, she is ignored. Evelyn discovers that there is another woman in Clint Eastwood's life, which makes this a tale of love triangles, as now she's vying for his attention against a rival. And this stirs anger in her. And still in the stage of madness, but progressing quickly into the stage of death, she kidnaps his girlfriend and tries to kill her. Clint Eastwood's character tries to save his girlfriend and stop Evelyn. They wrestle against one another. And in the end, Evelyn dies, entering into the stage of death.
Me.
I just want to be a part of your life.
Oh, this is the way you do it, huh? Showing up at my appointment?
Well, what am I supposed to do? You won't answer my calls. You changed your number. I mean, I'm not going to be ignored, Dad.
Don't flatter yourself, Alex.
Go ahead, hit me. If you can't fuck me, why don't you just hit me?
So sad. You know that, Alex. Lonely and very sad.
Don't you ever pity me,
I'll
smug
pity you.
bastard.
I'll pity you. I'll pity you because you're sick.
What are you doing? Please, Dad. Please don't go. I didn't mean it. Please, I'm sorry. I'll tell your wife.
You tell my wife. I'll kill you.
The movie Fatal Attraction does not star any Rohini natives, but the movie itself has two-sided inspirations. It was inspired by the previous film we studied, Play Misty for Me, which starred and was directed by a Rohini native, Clint Eastwood. And it was also inspired by the movie Diversion by James Dearden, who himself is a Rohini native. The movie Fatal Attraction is considered an adaptation of Diversion, James Dearden's earlier movie, and James Dearden himself co-directed the present film Fatal Attraction. The male protagonist of the movie is married, but decides to have a quick fling with a stranger he meets at a party. For him, it is no more than a one-night stand. But for her, it is a deeper connection. After he has his way, he tries to avoid her, but she desperately tries to convince him to spend more time with her.
Shit.
What are you doing?
I gotta go.
So you said she wasn't coming back till tomorrow? You know, I don't think I like this.
Like what?
The way you run away after every time we make love. Well, you're not going to leave him, huh?
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
I
Please
mean it.
stop
I mean
Hey,
it.
come on. Hey, Alex, come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on now. We are adults, aren't we?
What's that supposed to mean?
I thought we'd have a good time.
No, you didn't. You thought you'd have a good time. You didn't stop for a second to think about me.
Look, Alex. I like you. And if I wasn't with somebody else, then maybe I'd be with you. But I am.
Please don't justify yourself as pathetic. If you tell me to fuck off, I'd have more respect for you.
All right, then fuck off.
And you get out!
I'm going.
Why don't you come over here and say goodbye nicely? Let's be friends.
Baby, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry if I upset you.
It's okay. It's okay, really. It's all right. Jesus Christ! No, come here. Hold
But he soon discovers that Alex, the female protagonist, is a little too fixated on him. She is persistent, and she's even shameless in her pursuit of him, despite his rejections of her, and is reminding her that he is married. As a result of this unrequited love, we observe Alex go through pretty much every single symptom of lovesickness. She even goes as far as damaging Dan's car and kidnapping his daughter, hoping to stir, arouse, or provoke some kind of reaction from Dan. Again, all in an attempt to get Dan's attention and love and care. We even see her go through the stages of sleeplessness, as we can see from one scene where she sat on the floor and her obsessive thoughts of him are so agitating that she can't even produce enough slumber to sleep. Sometimes, absent of loving affection, the love-struck Rohini native will choose even negative attention if it means energetic exchange. The worst thing for them is to be completely ignored. Alex systematically antagonizes Dan and his family, committing acts that would be categorized by many as criminally insane. Eventually, she irritates or agitates or provokes Dan to such an extent that he even becomes violent towards her. Still, Alex remains in her obsession over Dan, and this time, she plans on eliminating her rival permanently. Of course, she believes that in putting an end to the love triangle between him, her, and his wife, Dan will finally be free to choose her, and so she decides to kill his wife. In the end, her fate is the same as that of the aforementioned Rohini tales. Alex, in her fixation for Dan, ultimately dies from Cupid's poison arrows, as she is killed by Dan and his wife because she could not stop obsessing over them. I would like to quickly touch upon James Dearden's earlier movie, from which Fatal Attraction was adapted, only to explore these similarities. Again, James Dearden himself is a Rohini native that directed both the movie Diversion and co-directed Fatal Attraction. In watching the movie Diversion, many of the scenes are almost identical to the later adaptation. Like the character Dan from Fatal Attraction, this movie's male protagonist takes advantage of the fact that his wife and child are out of the house to cheat on her. He meets an attractive woman and has a short fling, but she is quickly attached to him, calling him on the telephone incessantly.
Yeah?
What happened?
What do you mean, what happened? I'm back at home.
But you didn't say anything. I woke up and you weren't there.
I wanted to let you sleep.
You shouldn't have left like that. Not without saying goodbye. I hate that.
Yeah.
What happened? I woke up, you weren't here. I hate that.
Well, I'm sorry, but I had to get back.
I thought we were going to spend a day together.
I've got work to do, and a dog to look after.
Well, bring the dog. I like animals. I'll cook lunch. I'm a great cook.
I thought we were going to spend the day together.
Oh, no, Alex, look, I got so much work to do today. I can't.
Why don't you just come over? I'll cook us lunch.
I gotta take the dog for a walk. The poor dog has not been out of this house all day. I gotta take him out.
Well, bring the dog. I love animals. I'm a great cook. Come on.
Oh, come over, please. Well, I can't come right now. I really have got to get some work done. Well, all right. Do what you have to do and then come over. We can eat late if you want. Well, maybe. You can work here. I won't disturb you. I'll be a good girl. You'll see. You're very persistent, I'll say that. Well, you should be flattered. Maybe. Well then, are you coming or aren't you? Yes.
Listen, I'd love to, but I can't, all right? I really can't.
Do what you have to do, then come over afterwards. I can always late. Well, or you can, work here. I won't disturb you, I promise. I'll be a good girl.
Yeah, you don't give up, do you? You just don't give up.
Begging him to stay after they had slept together and always demanding his constant attention. She, of course, goes through the stages of madness when she, at first, is so angry she wants to kick him out and then quickly acts remorseful and begs him to stay.
I thought she didn't get back till tomorrow.
Oh, I can't be too careful.
I don't believe it. You're sneaking off again.
You do that?
Well, I'm not sure that I like this.
Like what?
The way that you keep running off as soon as you've made love to me.
I'm putting on my clothes and I'm leaving. I'll be reasonable.
Be reasonable? I have to be reasonable. You call me up out of the blue, you walk into my life, and then you go, as easy as that.
We both know that.
You're not going now.
Don't be ridiculous.
I mean it.
Erica, I am leaving. Erica, you are a great-looking girl. I really like you. I am not saying that if I wasn't with someone, we couldn't get something going, but I am not
Don't
free.
justify yourself. It's pathetic. I'd have more respect for you if you just told me to get lost.
All right. Get lost.
And you, just get out!
So desperate is she for his love and care that she even goes as far as cutting herself to provoke him into some sort of deeper affection. But of course, this doesn't work. But she is persistent, and one can tell that unless Cupid's wounds are bandaged with a kiss, she'll avenge the blows against her and hunt down him and his wife and his child.
Alice! 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 Alice, please don't do this! Alice! Alice!
What are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm making you mine.
The movie Killing Me Softly describes the themes of love triangles that are so ingrained in Rohini love stories. It stars the Rohini Sun native Joseph Fiennes. In the beginning of the movie, we witness a woman unsatisfied in her relationship who one day meets Joseph Fiennes' character, Adam. And it was love at first sight, the first stage of Cupid's effects and the first symptom of lovesickness. Alice, the female protagonist, is so mesmerized by the attractive stranger that she even skips work to stalk him, which is the second stage of the effects of Cupid's poison arrow, fixation or obsession. They eventually sleep together several times. Adam is a very erotic lover, and he possesses many unique and exciting skills and tricks for exciting his lover in the bedroom, techniques that Shirley has been perfecting over the course of time. Once again, Rohini's special talent is the ability to arouse, stir, and to provoke. In a romantic context, Rohini Nakshatra studies his lover to discover what performance can most rile her senses and fry her nervous system. He will try different things to observe what effect they have on her. He will play the sweet and understanding boyfriend and study how she responds to this act, or he can switch it up and play the bad boy and study how much more passion this performance elicits. Rohini is the moon's favorite wife, for this nakshatra is capable of morphing itself to embody any fantasy that appeals to his lover and wear the fantasy like a persona. We will explore this more in chapter 1, this quality of Rohini embodying the fantasy of their lover to successfully excite him or her in order to gain favor. We can even consider the Marquis de Sade, who himself was a Rohini native. The Marquis, from his earliest years as a toddler to his death, loved to explore the most erotic sexual techniques and practices to study the effect that they had on others, but also for his own enjoyment, for he loved to excite himself. And he would look for ever more extreme, ever more vile practices to stir himself and excite himself. He would get bored of some practices and then look for even more grotesque ways of getting off. Returning to the movie Killing Me Softly, we observe Alice in a dilemma. She is stuck in a love triangle between the man to whom she wishes to give herself over and the man she is no longer interested in. She eventually decides to break things off with her current boyfriend to devote herself to Adam.
Jake, I have to leave you.
You what?
I can't go on like this, I'm sorry. I have to leave.
You have to leave me? I want to marry you.
I met somebody. I didn't mean to hurt you. It's not the point.
It's very much the point. We go to the market together every Sunday. I buy your fucking tube tickets for you. Jesus!
In the beginning, she is satisfied with this choice, and she is so smitten by Adam and so desperately wishes to keep him entertained that she even modifies her own behavior and dress to more closely embody Adam's fantasy or what she believes will excite him.
I mean, my taste in clothes has completely changed. Really? I bought this practically transparent pink t-shirt. And I won't even tell you about the lingerie.
She takes on rock climbing because she knows that Adam loves to mountain climb, and in general, she adopts a new persona all for him. Remember, in Chapter 1 of Rohini, we will further discuss this classic Rohini trait of modifying your entire personality to embody your partner's fantasy in order to more successfully excite him. But let us continue with the present Chapter 2. But despite all the happiness around her, Alice starts to notice a more violent side to Adam, a more obsessive side to him that begins to frighten her. She begins to observe that his fixation on her is a little too extreme. For context, Alex begins to receive messages from an unknown person who tries to desperately warn her that Adam is not who she thinks he is. These mysterious messages attempt to inform Alice that Adam is dangerous and violent, and if she does not leave him, he will do her in. In the beginning, she ignores these messages, but slowly she becomes convinced that Adam is a dangerous character. When Adam starts to sense Alice slipping away from him, he does in fact reveal a more violent, more obsessive and possessive side. He ties her up, but this time it seems less romantic than the other times he has done so. He seems to be spiraling out of control. These strange messages, along with the letters of Adele, Adam's former girlfriend, convince Alice that Adam is responsible for her death, and she even goes on a mission with Deborah, Adam's sister, to try to discover the truth about what happened.
Was Francois with someone else? It wasn't an accident. She left him, so he killed her.
But as Alice and Deborah are digging, Alice realizes that actually it is not Adam that has killed Adele, but it was Deborah all along.
She didn't have to die. If only she told me she was going back to Michael.
Why did you do this? Why did you do this?
Who do you think gave him his first piece of silk? He was just 15. I'm talking about fucking Alice! That's right! Right fucks! Right here! Adam is mine! He's mine!
Alice did not realize this, but she was stuck in another love triangle, and this time she was vying for the love of Adam against Deborah, Adam's sister, who who she did not know was her rival. Earlier in the movie, we see signs of Deborah's obsession on her own brother.
She's my sister, but she drives me mad. I swear it's chemical.
And we are even told that at a young age, Adam and Deborah committed the act of incest. Deborah is also the one responsible for secretly harassing Alice with those strange letters, all as a means to arouse fear in her so she would leave Adam. It seems that Alice is not the only one pierced by Cupid's arrow, but Deborah has been wounded from Adam's love for much longer. But because her wounds have never been bandaged by his embrace, she avenges herself against every girlfriend that Adam has. In the end, Deborah reaches the final stage of Cupid's effects and she dies, or rather, is killed. Why are love triangles so connected to Rohini Nakshatra? This goes back to one of the most common tales shared about the nakshatra, the tale of the moon and his 27 wives. The story goes more or less as follows. Each of the 27 nakshatras represents a wife that the moon is obligated to spend time with. But when he passes through the nakshatra of Rohini, he remains there long past his allotted time. What we observe in this tale is one of polygamous relationships, and naturally one of the hardest to balance factors of a polygamous relationship is offering all of one's wives equal attention. The moon finds Rohini too entertaining, too full of artful romantic skill. Rohini possesses many crafts and many guises and is capable of embodying, again, different fantasies to suit the changing likes of her lover, the moon. All of this provokes the moon's fixation for Rohini, and he remains fixed on her nakshatra. The moon himself goes through the stages of Cupid's effects and is guilty of giving up all of his responsibilities or lacking interest in external things, and is even guilty of shamelessness as he openly displays his preference for Rohini and unashamedly disrespects all the other nakshatras. The moon goes through the stages of intoxication, for he is so enamored with Rohini and becomes so drunk from sucking at her bosom that he ignores the rest of the world. Of course, this provokes the jealousy of all of the other nakshatras, or rather, wives, who are robbed of their time with the moon. They all try their best but cannot outcompete the ever-entertaining Rohini and all of her personas and all of her guises. Finally, the other wives petition a higher force to threaten to kill the moon if he does not give up his preferential treatment of Rohini. In the end, the moon is cursed to die periodically. And this periodic death is, of course, the final stage of Cupid's effects. The tale of the 27 wives is one of love triangles, or rather, I should say, a tale of love polygons of 27 sides. There are a number of real-life examples of individuals caught in love triangles. We have Eddie Fisher, who took advantage of Elizabeth Taylor at the time of her divorce, when she was most vulnerable, to get into a relationship with her, even though he himself was married to her best friend. We have Lauryn Hill, who allegedly got together with Wyclef Jean while he was still with his wife. Tina Turner, who allegedly got together with Ike while he was still married. Kristen Stewart, who was caught cheating on her boyfriend at the time, Robert Pattinson, with her Snow White and the Huntsman director, Sanders. We have Heidi Klum, who, after months of speculation, admitted to Katie Couric that she and her bodyguard, Martin Kirsten, were dating. But allegedly, she had gotten together with her bodyguard even while she was still married to her husband, Seal. And of course, we have the infamous case of Angelina Jolie, who, in the eyes of the media, is forever tied to her love triangles between herself and Laura Dern and Billy Bob Thornton, as well as, of course, the legendary love triangle between herself, Brad Pitt, and Angelina Jolie. She is alleged to have gotten involved with these two men while they were still with their significant others.
Welcome to my crib. But you know, the object of this whole joint is gotta find the right girl for me, you know what I mean? But you know what, I only can keep one of y'all, so listen, I know it's gonna be a little bit of competition thing going on here in the whole nine, but we gonna have some fun. I know that, and we gonna party.
I plan to win Flav's heart. In order for that to happen with 20 other women, there's no way I'm gonna play fair. No way.
Since we are on the subject of love triangles or love polygons, we may as well make reference to dating shows, as many of these programs are structured in such a way that all the contestants compete for one man. Let us explore one of the most controversial and memorable reality dating competitions ever, Flavor of Love. The premise of the show is very simple. Multiple different women of varying backgrounds are invited into a mansion to compete for the love and attention of a singular eligible bachelor. In this case, the eligible bachelor is the likely Rohini Moon native, Flava Flav. During the competition, the contestants employ various stratagems to call Flava's attention and otherwise demonstrate to him that they are the only ones worthy of his love and attention. Doing things like embarrassing themselves and acting foolishly, violating their own integrity to not get eliminated in the competition, bad-mouthing one another to make them seem unworthy of Flava's attention.
That mustache, that delicious is rocking, is definitely thicker than Flave's. And I'm a little disgusted by that. I don't like it. Her shit-stained eye and her mustache has to go.
And even psychological warfare to destroy the confidence of the other competitors.
You look like a fairy princess that resides over the pits of hell.
Bucky?
Yeah, you're tight in the face.
Exactly.
Not flattering. Give it up, Delicious. You look like a man. You guys were pathetic. Wow. They're both lesbians. I would say that Pumpkin would be the lipstick lesbian and Hoops would be, the man.
They even do things that one would think is not allowed in the competition. For example, sneaking into Flava's room for extra time with him.
Flava was getting kind of sleepy. At my room, getting undressed and everything. And then a knock comes on my door. Who is it? My girl Hoops. Next thing you know, hey, Pumpkin, Flavor Flav! She comes in. All of us laying up in my bed. Oh man, you don't know. Flavor Flav drowning in the sea of women.
But this is obviously not fair because each contestant is meant to have their own scheduled time with Flava. But because everyone aspires to become his favorite wife, or rather win the competition, they decide to break the rules and sneak into his bedroom to separate themselves from the masses and gain his favor in secret. Reality dating shows like these, where all the contestants vie for the affection of one mate, are often seen as representative of polygamous relationships, which is a romantic structure where one man has multiple wives, and each of these wives, or rather, each of these 27 wives in the context of Rohini's tale, discreetly antagonize one another and compete for the attention of the singular male. Now, there is one contestant that sticks out in the show. One contestant that successfully draws the eyes and ears of the audience towards her more than anyone else. One contestant that manages to be so arousing, so aggravating, so provocative that even her reactions have been immortalized as memes. That one contestant is the attention-grabbing Rohini native, Tiffany New York Pollard.
I have nothing against plus-size women, but when I'm next to Goldie, there is, a difference. It's obvious, She's a cute girl, cute next to gorgeous. Gorgeous is gonna, devour cute. So in the looks department, I definitely, I've scored too high for her to catch up.
Rohini Nakshatra, because of its ability to gain attention, is very good for getting a reaction out of people. And Tiffany New York, determined to be either the apple of Flava's love or the star of the show, dedicates herself to her most obnoxious persona to stand out.
What? Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Not you. You can choke. This was the first interaction I really had with Brain, so I wanted to see her anger level. I wanted to see if I was powerful enough to twist her mind. It was a mind thing. She got mind screwed by me, and it worked.
But Tiffany New York represents the more negative expressions of Rohini's arousing abilities because she is very antagonistic, but knows how to put on a mask to face Flava. Traditionally, Rohini's arousing, stirring, and provoking abilities are expressed romantically to excite a lover into action. But with Tiffany, we get to see Rohini provoking in a way that simply wreaks havoc in the household. Tiffany is universally hated in the house and is always getting into fights because she pokes at the most vulnerable side of each of the other girls. In season 1 of the show, this even culminates in the most memorable fights, which involved one of the girls being so agitated, so aggravated, so provoked by Tiffany that she spits at her.
You know what? You know what? You are just as ugly on the outside as you are on the inside. Hoops, I wish you the best of luck, baby. If you want a real girl, pick Hoops, because she's the real girl, okay?
Bye, Pumpkin. Your opinion doesn't count. You're getting the door right now.
You know what? At least I didn't gain 20 pounds being on the show, you fat ass transvestite looking bitch.
Better than you making your exit right now. Yes, the hell I did.
Fake bitch Flav.
Bye, Pumpkin. Bye, Pumpkin.
At least I don't look like a pumpkin. Give me a hug.
Bitch, you look like a man and you need that facelift and get rid of Chrome's feet with that.
I don't even pay no attention. I'm not. You're bigger. Okay? Okay. I love you. I love you too.
Get her out of here.
Okay?
Actually, I can slap the out of you because
do it! Slap me, bitch.
Rohini is one of the best nakshatras for a lover because of its talent in studying her partner and then proceeding to poke him and prod him to see what excites him most. Does my lover like it when I rub his feet? Does it tickle him when I run my hands on his back? How can I make him blush? How can I boil his blood? How can I best provoke him into a state of frenzy? But when Rohini expresses itself more negatively and more antagonistically, the Rohini native studies others to figure out their weaknesses and how they can best provoke them as a means of attacking them. As examples of this antagonistic provoking quality, we have the example of 50 Cent.
Or have a beef with Ja Rule.
That's an old school. That's an old.
But I understand that. But wait, I understand. In October, you did something to get back at Ja Rule.
Yeah.
And please tell the people what you did because this is quite.
I bought like the first 4 rows in his concert. They was like on Groupon for $15. It wasn't a big deal. They were showing me the stuff on there, and my sister and stuff, and I said, yo, they put concert tickets in? And I looked, and his tickets was there. I was like, how much are the tickets? $15. I said, okay, give me the first 4 rows.
How many seats is that? That's got to be like 200 seats.
It's done but like $3,000.
So when he came out, there's nobody in the first 4 rows of his concert?
Now you got to test your showmanship. When you come and there ain't nobody in the front seats, you got to still perform like everybody's here.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read 1 full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. Fuck the bucket ice, man. I got a phone call from my man Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy said if Floyd accepts the challenge, then he'll put it on the actual show, so you can read it on the show. We don't want to put pressure on you. We know you can't pronounce those words in that Harry Potter book, so we're gonna let you read Cat in the Hat.
Azealia Banks.
She called you Jigaboo, the champagne goddess. She also called you a house N-word.
House nigga, yes. And Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom also?
Yes, okay. And a coon.
Now, somebody tweeted Erykah Badu, does at Fat Belly Bella, that's her Twitter name, listen to Azealia Banks, always wanted to know. She said, tried. Azealia Banks saw that and she tweeted to Erykah Badu, jealousy. When artists grow old and begin to recognize their own mortality, they throw shade at younger spirits. Erykah Badu responded, well, ish, I did try. Maybe you're right, I'm just too old to get it. You cool though? Azealia Banks said, LOL, you just keep rocking your head wraps and buying your musky oils off the table on 125th. And then she went on to say, you have to shave your underarms before you try and come for me. Just kidding. Happy V-Day. Keep greasing that scalp, mama.
And then here you got fucking coon head ass T.I. Like, T.I., you out here trying to fucking promote this white bitch. Like, they got your wife on VH1. Whitey got your wife on VH1 and that bitch can't fucking read. You understand? You got your priorities fucked up.
That's really how you feel about
That's
T.I.
really how I fucking feel about you. You a fucking shoe shining coon.
Moist critical.
The odd misleading thumbnail, the odd misleading title here and there, and if you're dumb enough to, like, you know, be misled and like actually go onto the video, like, I've clickbaited you, I won, I've got the extra view, like, you're so dumb if you go onto the video thinking.
I am in firm agreement with Ryan on this point here. If you are a fan of Ryan Franklin, you are dumb and you are stupid. You look like Bert from Sesame Street. I'm sure you get that one all the time, so that's nothing new. Your hair looks like Anthony Sullivan's Smart Mop after it was used to clean up a pile of Chaz Finster's pubic hair. I'm actually really glad you chose that hairstyle though, honestly. It lets people know you're a douchebag without ever having to talk to you. Your hair looks like 3 rusted slinkies that had an orgy on top of your head that you just decided not to stop. What does every douche tuber have in common besides a micro penis?
God damn it, don't you laugh at me! My money back. Yes, you are! Me!
And here we're immediately introduced to our 3 protagonists of this short film. Now the one who's currently shouting is exactly what I picture in my head whenever I think of an evil librarian. She looks exactly like a mean, angry lunch lady from a Pixar film.
Yeah, and it's already out of my account, and I can show you that you've already taken my money. So you need to give me my cash. And if I end up on YouTube, I will personally sue your ass.
I'm just documenting it.
Also, just a side note, I fucking hate when people say they're personally gonna sue someone. No, you're not. You're not gonna represent yourself. You're not that fucking dumb. What are you gonna do? You're gonna stand up in court and say, oh, excuse me, Your Honor, I just didn't like the cut of their jib. Can I have their car now? What do you mean I lost? No, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go home, you're gonna argue with your husband and threaten divorce for the 5th time that week in front of your children, then you're gonna flip to the back of the phone book to try and track down some slimy grease beaver, then you're gonna pay them $100 in an over-the-pants hand job to try and represent your ass for this stupid fucking case you're gonna try and drum up.
These are all individuals who train themselves in the art of how to arouse others into anger and hatred. Their insults are creative and well thought out to provoke the maximum degree of mental agitation. Rohini's talent is that in setting the heart on fire or frying the nervous system for good or for bad. Rohini Nakshatra and its stories demonstrate to us that it's very much connected to polygamy. Again, a relationship structure in which one individual, usually a man, is married to multiple different wives. But these types of relationships, and especially societies that are polygamous, are said to be inherently unstable and even violent. What is the reason for the instability and violence of polygamous relationships and societies? The answer can be simplified in one word: competition for resources and attention. In such a scenario, there are multiple wives, or say 27 different wives in the context of Rohini. They are all desperately vying for the attention of one singular male to benefit from his resources, so that he can provide for their child or in general to get their daily dose of love. But resources are limited, and this even includes attention, which means that no matter how much effort is made to be fair with how one husband divides his time, there will always be wives that are left unsatisfied, which cannot but inspire resentment, jealousy, and ultimately violence. This, of course, goes back to the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, which essentially states that in any given case, only 20% of people gain 80% of resources, and the remaining 80% of people are left to split the resources among them. Another reason for the supposed inherent instability of polygamous relationships is external competition. If we live in a society where the top men hoard all of the most desirable women, this creates a gross inequality in the community, and the surrounding men who are left without wives respond with violence. The yoni animal of each nakshatra relates specifically to the sexual and romantic behavior of each nakshatra and is also what is used to determine compatibility between them. Another reason why Rohini is connected to Cupid is because it is connected to the serpent. Rohini's sexual or romantic animal is the serpent, which reinforces its clinging and obsessive nature. The serpent, of course, also carries with it poison, and so the blows of Cupid could be compared to the venomous bites of the serpent that leave their victim churning in passionate pain until their death. Reaches the final stage of lovesickness, death.
Understand all your options. And you need to know that I'm in love with you. And I want you to choose me instead of him.
I don't feel that way for you.
I don't buy it.
What don't you buy?
You feel something else for me. You just won't admit it. So I'm not giving up. I'm gonna fight for you. I can give you more than him. You wouldn't have to change for me, Bella. Or say goodbye to anybody. I mean, he probably can't even kiss you without hurting you.
The movie series Twilight is another great example of love triangles and unrequited love, centering around the Rohini ascendant, Kristen Stewart, whose AA verified birth time places her ascendant in Rohini. Kristen Stewart plays the character Bella in the Twilight Saga. In the first movie, Edward Cullen fell victim to Bella's arrows, and he was so taken by her that he even found it hard to control himself around her.
Why did you hate me so much when we met?
I did. Only for making me want you so badly. But it's you. Your scent. It's like a drug to me. You're like my own personal brand of heroin. I wanted to kill you. I've never wanted a human's blood so much in my life.
But things get even more interesting with the introduction of a new character, Jacob, played by the Rohini Ascendant native Taylor Lautner, whose C-verified birth time places his ascendant in Rohini Nakshatra. From our first introduction to Jacob, one could tell that he was struck by her, and quickly he descended through the stages of lovesickness, becoming consumed by thoughts of her.
I'm glad you're here, Bella. Maybe we can get a break from Jake's obsessive inner monologue. Which Bella would call.
Which Bella wouldn't call.
Maybe I should call Bella.
Maybe I should call Bella and hang up.
On numerous occasions, he openly declares his love for her, but no matter how many times she puts him down, he refuses to give up.
Jeez. What a marshmallow. You should hold out for someone with a stronger stomach. Someone who laughs at the gore that makes weaker men vomit.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye open for that.
He even oversteps his bounds and provokes her into assaulting him. Fortunately for Jacob, his lovesickness never descends deep enough into the stages of madness and death. But for many years, he lingers on the stages of persistence. The tale of Krishna from the Srimad Bhagavatam as he enters the city is very much analogous to all the tales we have observed thus far. Krishna, again, is said to have been born under Rohini moon and is said to share the qualities of this nakshatra. And the story of Krishna and his worshippers again establishes his connections to Kamadeva. Canto 10, chapter 42 of the Srimad Bhagavatam reads, "The sight of Krishna aroused Cupid in the hearts of the city women. Thus agitated, they forgot themselves. Their clothes, braids, and bangles became disheveled, and they stood as still as figures in a painting. The title of the movie, The Favorite, in itself carries the themes of Rohini Nakshatra. The Favorite is another tale of love triangles centering around Queen Anne. The movie was directed by the Rohini Sun native Yorgos Lanthimos. Two individuals, Abigail and Sarah, vie for the Queen's preferential treatments. In the beginning, before the arrival of Abigail, Sarah was the Queen's favorite, and she had one of the most seemingly stable lives within the castle. Because Sarah, the Queen's current favorite, never liked playing with rabbits. But this is not enough for her. Abigail wants to find ever greater, more intense ways of gratifying the Queen, so that she can... One day she spies on the Queen while she is being entertained by Sarah, and she discovers that they are in an intimate sexual relationship. At the time, it didn't seem like it had any effect, but that evening, the Queen called Abigail to her chambers. There, she attempts to stir and provoke the Queen in the same way she observed Sarah do before her. Sarah begins to realize her position as favorite is being threatened, and of course, tensions between the two wives, or rather between these two ladies, begins to mount, and they begin to antagonize one another. Now the two...
For the evening. Shall I prepare your bed, Queen Anne? Or shall you and I adjourn to your apartments for some sherry?
Threatened. Abigail intensifies her methods, and even goes as far as poisoning Sarah so that she may meet her death.
Monsieur donne des ordres. C'est admirable. De quel droit? Vous n'êtes ni mon père, ni mon mari, ni mon amant.
Je suis ton amant.
Vraiment, vous vous contentez de peu. Allez-y, frappez-moi.
The female stars the Rohini Moon native Brigitte Bardot in the main role of Eva, or Conchita. She is perceived as the most enchanting girl in a small provincial Spanish town. She represents every man's dream and every woman's rival, as they all look upon her with either lusts or loathing. She easily and effortlessly stirs, arouses, and provokes the hearts of the men into such a frenzy that many even embarrass themselves trying to get her attention. One man hears of how difficult Conchita is, but upon seeing her, he is struck with Cupid's bow and obsesses over her. This man's name is Don Mateo Diaz. Don Mateo is known as the most charming man in town, who has had his way with many a fine young woman. Though he is married, his wife is ill, and she grants him leave to pursue any girl he wishes as long as they can still be married.
María Teresa, ¿cómo estás, mi vida? ¿Mejor? Entonces no te importa si no vuelvo a casa esta noche. Me quedaría a dormir en Sevilla.
Je comprends admirablement. Tu sais bien que je comprends tout, même les choses que les femmes ne comprennent pas d'habitude.
Though he is smitten by her, and though she is difficult to hold on to, Don Mateo pursues Eva relentlessly, believing that she, like all the other women in town, will eventually submit to his seduction and be added onto the long list of women he has conquered. But by the end of the movie, we find that it is Conchita that conquers him. His plan was to make her his plaything for his own amusement. But as the story goes on, he falls sicker and sicker with love and eventually crawls to her and accepts whatever condition she sets for the relationship. There are times when Conchita pretends to be under his spell and goes along with his charms, but little things upset her, like having to split his affection with his legal wife, whom he holds in a higher regard and towards whom he shows some preferential treatments.
Très jolie personne. Votre nouvelle victime, je présume.
Sa victime, ça m'étonnerait. Ça ne dépend pas de lui.
Whenever Conchita feels like Don Mateo is slipping from under her spell, she quickly plots something to grab his attention and provoke him into more passionate pursuit. In this scene where he leaves her table to go sit with his wife, she looks at him tauntingly and then springs onto the stage with paid performers. Since she herself is a trained dancer, she not only gets into the groove quickly, but becomes the star of the show, which provokes both passion and jealousy, lust, love, and loathing in the hearts of both Don Mateo and his wife. His own wife even admits to him that Conchita is far too difficult to tame. After so many attempts to win her over, Don Mateo begins to feel defeated. Conchita has so stirred desire within him, and yet has denied the satisfaction of this desire, that she now left him lovesick. He could no longer eat or tend to his business affairs, and for a while all he did was lie depressed within his own home.
Comment vous ici, à Séville?
Vous ne venez plus. Il a bien fallu que je me décide.
Je travaille.
Alors pourquoi le notaire ne peut-il pas vous joindre? Ni Miura, ni Escobar, ni Enriquez, ils sont tous venus se plaindre à moi. Savez-vous qu'on ne vous a pas vu depuis 15 jours à la Canaleria? Depuis la Tienta, c'est bien simple.
Vous savez, les affaires...
Vous m'étonnez. Votre excellent ami de la Serna, qui était sur le point de traiter, attend votre signature depuis 15 jours. Il espérait vous rencontrer, mais il paraît qu'on ne vous voit nulle part. Tant que vous vous amusiez, je n'ai rien dit. J'ai accepté de passer pour une victime ou pour une idiote. Mais je ne vous laisserai pas vous perdre pour cette fille que, paraît-il, vous n'avez même pas encore eue.
Je ne vous permets pas.
His state is so humiliating that even his wife begins to suffer from second-hand embarrassments. How could the very charming, very wealthy Don Mateo be reduced to a lovesick teenage boy who could do nothing else but drink away his sorrows? But Don Mateo does not give up. After weeks of lurking in the shadows, he continues his pursuit of her.
Bonsoir.
Asseyez-vous.
Non, je ne peux pas, je suis très en retard.
Je sais. Vous êtes toujours en retard quand il s'agit de me parler. Je ne reviendrai plus.
À demain.
Un jour, je ne reviendrai plus.
Oh, vous êtes trop méchant.
Savez-vous depuis combien de jours je m'assieds à cette table sans jamais parvenir à vous parler?
Non, j'avoue que je n'ai pas compté.
17. 17 soirées que je passe presque uniquement avec vos camarades. Vous voulez me rendre fou?
Peut-être. C'est peut-être ce que j'attends, un peu de folie. En tout cas, je dois te dire quelque chose. Je serai à toi seule. Ou alors à qui voudra.
But Eva is still much more interested in provoking him than she is satisfying his desire. Conchita is unwilling to give herself over to Don Mateo because she is yet to be convinced that he actually loves her. Since he maintains his utter romantic affiliations with other women about town and still values his reputation over her. Conchita orchestrates situations for Don Mateo to catch her, like this scene where she is entertaining customers seductively. By flaunting herself before other men, her hope is to further arouse his passion and jealousy. Being a wealthy man, he tries to persuade her into his romantic submission by offering her pocket money, an apartment all for herself, servants. But she rejects all of this because she knows that she will still be but another concubine in his scattered harem.
Combien veux-tu? Combien? 10 000 pesettes?
10 000 pesettes.
Eva Marchand.
Et 100 000 pesettes. Vous m'aimez assez pour... Vous savez, rien ne sera changé entre nous. Il faudra attendre mon heure.
100 000 pesetas.
Páguese a la señorita Eva Marchand. Pesetas 100 000.
Écoute, tu vas quitter cette boîte infecte. Je dédommagerai un Ramadjan. Tu vas t'installer dans un petit hôtel particulier. Tu auras des domestiques, de l'argent de poche et même un compte en banque.
Non. Non, pas d'hôtel particulier, pas de domestique, pas de compte en banque. Je te demande pardon, Mathéo, mais vraiment tu ne m'as pas comprise. Cette boîte infecte, ces gens qui sont pauvres, qui sont humiliés, c'est mon monde à moi. Ma place est avec eux.
But the problem with our Rohini Moon protagonist is that she herself is not only interested in Don Mateo, she plays her games with other men about town as well, arousing their interest as well, but never satisfying them fully, but instead reveling in being the center of attention. She wishes to be the favored wife of men with whom she isn't even involved. And this goes back to what makes Rohini such a beloved nakshatra among the opposite sex, but also such a despised and loathed nakshatra among her sister wives, for she robs her sisters of the light of attention, which of course provokes their jealousy. Not stop. He has been taken to the height of agitation through Eva's constant stirring that he has finally descended into madness. I would like to end this video with a final tale, that of the movie Malena. I have chosen this movie to depict the socially destabilizing power of Rohini Nakshatra, as this movie was directed by the Rohini son and Rohini Ketu native Giuseppe Tornatore. Malena is not only depicted as the most beautiful woman in town, but the contrast between her and the others is so extreme that she rises almost like the sun. And she casts her brilliance upon all the other women, that even their twinkle is swallowed by the fire of Malena's glow. She operates like the Rohini archetype, and in so doing, she pulls the eyes and ears and general sensorium of everyone in town, such that they are so absorbed with her that they forget themselves. She never speaks, and all she does is walk about town, and yet she provokes such jealous rivalry in all the women, who operate as though they are stuck in a love triangle between themselves, their husbands, and the innocent Malena. The streets stop when she passes by. Again, Malena, operating as an extreme expression of the Rohini archetype, drags the senses of those in her radius towards her, and they each break their backs, wishing to ingratiate themselves. Of course, things take a turn for the worse. She inspires so much love and lust in the boys and men that they go as far as even stealing her underwear, spying on her, and even raping her. And the women become so corrupted by jealousy and loathing that they even deny her food whenever she goes to the market. We have discussed earlier how chaotic polyamorous relationships can be, but this case is even more extreme. Malena displays to us the truly chaotic and destabilizing effect of Rohini Nakshatra and even Venus, the planet. If one individual accumulates so much Venusian energy that it eclipses everyone else, there is bound to be much lust, love, and loathing that unsettles the very social fabric. Venus is a benefic that operates almost like a malefic. Imagine a garden. If Venus is made sculptor of this garden, she will have her preferences, and being benefic, she will increase her favorite flower. She will plant more pots, dig more ground, and in general, put all of her resources to the service of her favorite flower. But in choosing to increase her favorites, she must necessarily rob land from all the other flowers. This is the hidden malefic element of Venus. As the alchemists say, Venus is from the outside solar, but from the inside corrosive, as can even be seen from its glyph. On top, we have the circle, representing the sun and all things beautiful. But underneath, we have the cross, which symbolizes Earth and the realm of death and transformation. The most iconic scene in the movie is close to the end, when the women find an opportunity to finally avenge themselves against Malena. Here we find Rohini's sister wives vomiting all of their jealousy and loading upon the beautiful Rohini for taking more than her fair share of attention and admiration, leaving the other wives to divide the scraps that are left behind. Their main objective in this violent exercise is to steal from Malena all that is charming about her: her clothes, her smooth skin, her gentle face, and even her hair. I would like to read a poem I have written which was inspired by the current video. O God of vengeance, hear my cries. Dip your arrows in the poison that is my blood. That poison spread from the bosom to the loins. Engrave each shaft with this here my name, that she recalls her forgotten victim. Strike at she who was first to assault me. Have her limping towards me, begging mercy, that her heart may bleed and never ever to be cured, but only balmed by my kiss, her evening prescription. I petition you, Cupid, avenge me, avenge me. Thank you for watching my video.
Look damn good. Goldie, she seems a plus-size, loud woman. You know, I'd go as far as to say I slightly acknowledge Goldie. I have nothing against plus-size women, but, you know, when I'm next to Goldie, there is, you know, a difference. It's obvious, you know. She's a cute girl, you know, cute next to gorgeous. Gorgeous is gonna, you know, devour cute. So, in the looks department, I definitely, you know, I've scored too high for her to catch up. I didn't like it, you know. It hurt that he was paying a lot of attention to Goldie, but I think I handled myself well because I see myself pouring the champagne all over the table and leaving. I mean, I was just like a millisecond from doing it. Fucking country fucking bumpkin with a fucking white gravy and fucking biscuits. That's all he fucking cares about.
I want you to win your
I'm not finished.
I don't give a fuck if you're finished. You're
I'm
a
not
fake
finished.
ass.
I have the dress, and tonight I will be the shit. You know, dessert was there. We didn't need dessert. You know, Flav was my dessert. I was his dessert. We just served each other up on a platter.
At least I didn't gain 20 pounds being on the show, you fat ass fucking transvestite looking
I
bitch.
look better than you making your
No, you
exit
don't.
right now. Yes, the hell I do. I don't know how to stand alone. I knew from the beginning in this competition that it was very important for me to stand alone always because that shows Flav that he has a solid woman in the house. Pumpkin's calling me out. For her to bring that up just shows how petty and childish and immature she is, how easy she is to basically crunch. You know, I'm crunching her. Pumpkin, she's a trash bag. It just seems like she's just there to make out with him and see how far she can go. Do I like Pumpkin? No. Do I respect Pumpkin? No. Does Pumpkin still need a facelift? Yes. How was your evening, Pumpkin?
Good.
I wasn't interested in how the day went. I just wanted to pump her for information. Oops, she was slow at answering that door. I think she knew that I was on the other side. She's obviously bothered by the fact that I spent the night with Flav. Do I give a damn? No, I don't.
He's going with Hoops right now.
You think so?
He is. Oh,
What the fuck are you talking about? Wait.
He's leaving with Hoops right now and her mom. Where are you going?
What are you talking about?
What?
I don't know if a woman that deserves to be here is going to leave tonight.
I'm getting ready to go on mine right now.
How would she know that? I mean,
Because
she's
Flav's
totally
is back
clueless.
now.
No, that's not true.
She's like, what? Oh, stop. Oh, stop. Oh, stop.
Don't tell me this.
Speak no more. Like, just weird shit. And I was like, oh my God, is she okay? Like, I didn't know what to do.
So she's going on her date right now?
Hoops is having her one-on-one tonight.
What the hell are you talking about?
She has a one-on-one with him.
She just got home. Keep it together. Keep it fucked together. Oh my God. When love is involved, I tend to be very territorial. I wouldn't call it jealousy because I'm usually the superior woman. I'm a wreck. All I've been doing is eating, and I'll probably eat all night. Taking every ounce in me not to go upstairs.
What kind of ice cream is that?
I could have swore I heard a moan.
I think Newark wears cologne instead of perfume because she said when men smell it on her, like it makes them feel sexy because they smell themselves. No, this bitch has lost it.
They're both lesbians. I would say that Pumpkin would be the lipstick lesbian and Hoops would be, you know, the man. You should have just sat there and ate your food because you need to shut the fuck up. This is some real shit right here. This is real shit. Shut up. Were you trying to address me?
I just said you're the aspiring actress.
I haven't did any TV shows and I have not been playing with his heart and he knows it. That's why I'm standing up here and you're getting ready to get the boot. Pumpkin is eliminated. The fucking bitch tries to call me out. She's telling Flav that I'm an aspiring actress, which I am. Bye, Pumpkin. Bye, Pumpkin. I can't wait to get to my man. Like, that's the love of my life. That dress looks awful close to mine. Somebody must be jealous. I look great. I'm not jealous, Hoops, and you know it.
Actually, I can slap the shit out of you because
Do it! Slap me, bitch! What? You motherfucking whore! You motherfucker put your motherfucking hands on me! Did you see that bitch fucking spit in my motherfucking face? Bitch, I would take you out! And that bitch breath stinks too. I smell the shit all in my hair.
Check this out.
Her breath smelled like straight up shit. It smelled like a toilet full of nasty ass shit, okay? I must say this right now. I'm gonna take this clock because I want it from my heart. And I thank you for letting me be in the house. But I wanna go whip that motherfucking bitch ass right now.